4 years have passed since the mortal races banded together and stood united against the might of the Burning Legion. Though Azeroth was saved, the tenuous pact between the Horde and the Alliance has all but evaporated. The drums of war thunder once again.
The drums of war do sound once again, but instead of taking the conflict to Kulturas, Pandaria, Zandalar, or even Najatar, we take it back to the past. Today, we will be discussing the current state of Azeroth back in 2004. So technically it's not the current state of Azeroth, but it is for the time period, and look, you get the idea. So 4 years have passed since the orcs, humans, and night elves stood united against the Burning Legion, and while the forces of Archimonde were defeated at the sacrifice of Nordrassil and night elven immortality, the world would not know peace. The orcs of newfound Durotar and the remaining humans of the defunct Seven Kingdoms would see a potential long-standing alliance sealed with a treaty of peace that did little to help anyone. Hateful relations between orcs and humans made negotiating almost impossible. The orcs' colonization of Kalimdor would dam diplomatic approaches by the Kaldori, and the situation would not get any better. Knowing that war could be the end result of the madness, the two would begin a scramble for global superiority, bolstering themselves with the finest the world has to offer. For Stormwind, the last remaining bastion of humanity not hidden behind a wall, it turned to Theramore and its makeshift agreement with the Night Elves of Ashenvale, recruiting both to a new partnership. To accompany them would be the dwarves and gnomes of Khazmodan, a people who have suffered under the boot of Horde conquest during the Second War and are the closest thing to the human capital. Together, the four races of the humans, night elves, dwarves, and gnomes would form a newly written pact known as the Grand Alliance, the successor of the Alliance of Lordaeron. But just as the Alliance was formed, the orcs grew in strength as well. With their arrival on and colonization of Kalimdor, the orcs strengthened their bond with the Darkspear trolls and the Tauren of Thunderbluff, offering them harborage under a new banner. But in order to keep watch on the progress of their new enemy, they'd need another ally. The Forsaken of Lordaeron, a group now freed from the Lich King's command, appealed to join their brethren in the Alliance, but were met with little success and were mostly met with a sword. Seeing an opportunity, the orcs appealed and allied themselves with the undead, adding a substantial holding on the Eastern Kingdoms. Together, the orcs, trolls, Tauren, and Forsaken would redefine what the Horde of old was, creating a newer, yet more familiar faction. And now, the world awaits another war. Tensions rise, blades are drawn, and the tides of war are rising. But the truth of the matter is, while the two await for the other to strike, neither will. The Horde is too new, its supplies are limited, and its infrastructure is barren. A long-scale war of attrition would prove fatal to the faction, and thus Thrall, warchief of the Horde, does not strike in the open, hoping relations will cool and the world can remain at peace while his people and clan are set upon by their own troubles. The same type of mindset goes for the Alliance, for as grand as they might make themselves out to be, they are without the proper coin, manpower, and strings to tug upon in times of conflict. To make matters worse, their king, Varian Wrynn, has disappeared on a diplomatic mission to Theramore, leaving the Kingdom of Stormwind and the greater faction with a regent where a king should be at the table. Both are weak. Both factions fear open war. Both struggle to maintain themselves as they're set upon by kobolds, gnolls, centaur, each other, and everything else. If the Alliance and Horde are to survive, it will not be by the will of one orc, one human, a hero of old, or a guardian of Tirisfal. For, you see, it is by the will of a new set of people, a nameless, faceless set hailing from all across Azeroth that will rise to the spotlight. It is their actions that will determine the fate of the Alliance and Horde. It will be their deeds that will define this period of heated tension and faltering allegiances. This is the start of the world of Warcraft. Thanks for watching.